In this video, we're going to learn how to take one primitive and combine it with another. So looking at our drone, you can see that we've built out the main part of the body. We learned how to use modifiers to make the modeling process go faster. And now what I want to do is I want to figure out how we can start creating these cylindrical shapes that are at the end of the arms. So to start this process, let's go ahead and go to our top view by hitting T. And let's go to the Create panel, Geometry Standard Primitives, and let's use a cylinder. What I want to do is I want to go ahead and left click and drag out a cylinder to about this size right here. And then I'm going to release that. Now I have to get the height. Whenever we create cylinders in an orthographic view like the top view, we need to make sure that we are getting that. So we need to get the height to about the value we want. So let's go to about 4 or 5. Left click and that will finalize that height, and then you can right click and that will leave the cylinder behind. So you've created it. So now with this cylinder, let's go ahead and go to the Modify panel, and let's just set up some of our parameters. The first thing that I want to do is I want to make sure my height segments are set to 1, and I also want to make sure that my sides are set to 8. The reason I like to do this is because it makes it very easy to model at a lower resolution. So with this, let's go ahead and make the radius go up just a little bit higher. What I want to do is I want to get these corners to match up right here. So I'm going to move this cylinder out just a little bit to right about here. Let me go ahead and make an adjustment to this. Let's go to something maybe around 9. Something close to that. That might get us pretty close there. Let's hit Alt X so we can see through that. Now that's actually looking really, really large, so let me take that down. I'm trying to match it up to those arms there, but I really don't want it to be that large. Let's just do 8. Let's move that into position like that. And then what I want to do is I just want to make sure that this corner is pretty close to being in line with this edge right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull that to the left, down a little bit. And it's very close, but I think we should be good there. All right, so I'm just trying to match this up really close so that way I can get the topology and join these together. So whenever I start thinking about taking two primitives and I want to join them together, I want to get them positioned first, and then I also want to make sure that their resolution is going to match. And then I also want to make sure that my polygons have a place to connect at. So with this cylinder set right here, let me go to my front view, and I'm actually going to right click and convert it to an editable poly object. And then I'm going to grab my vertex mode. I'm going to take this set of vertices, I'm going to drag it all the way down to the bottom right here. And then I'm going to take these, and I'm going to drag these up to right about there. All right, now once I have that, I need to make sure that I have a segment that goes across here, but I'm going to wait on that for just a moment. Actually, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's drag this down to where it's even with the arm, or at least close. Let's take this set of vertices and let's pull those up to right about there first. All right, now once we have that, let's go ahead and start working with the two objects together. Now, they're still separate objects, and I can't work on one or both of them at the same time because they're two separate pieces. So to make them one object, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the main part of the drone, and I'm going to go to Editable Poly, and then I'm going to use the Attach tool. Let's left-click on that. It's activated, and then anything that I pick or left-click on will attach itself to the original object. So let's left-click on the cylinder, and you'll see now it is blue, and it's also the exact or part of the same object. So let's right-click on that to stop attaching things. Now, we do have two objects here, but they're still two different elements. Let's view that by going to element mode. You can see that we can select the cylinder, and then we can select the body. Let's make them one object, one element. So to do this, let's go to polygon mode, and I'm going to select the polygons on the cylinder, and you'll have to left click on that a couple of times. Now I hit F3 to go to wireframe view. And then you'll have to hold down Control and try to get that one on the inside. It might be a little difficult. So what I'll do now instead is I'll just come in and I'm going to left click and drag around that. And then I'm going to deselect the polygons that I don't want. Okay, so hold down Alt and then left click on those, and that will deselect those polygons. Let's delete those on the cylinder, and then we need to do the same thing for the arm. Now, again, we have the same type of issue. It can be very hard to select that. I can see a little bit of it here. I'm going to go to the other side. Let's hold down Control, left click the next polygon, hit F3 to see exactly what you have selected, and then hit delete. So now I have this shape. I've deleted the polygons that would separate these two shapes. So now what I need to do is I need to weld the vertices to make it one object. So to weld vertices, let's go to vertex mode, and then I'm going to right click to bring up my quad menu, and then I'm going to go to target weld. Now target weld is a great tool because what it does is it allows you to select a vertice or a vertex, and then it will weld to the next vertex that you select. So right here on the corner, let's go ahead and click on this vertex, and then you'll see we get this dotted line. It's following my mouse. It's waiting for me to pick the next vertex. So I'm going to go from the ship, or the drone arm, I should say, and let's go to the cylinder. So I'm going to click there. Let's go down to this bottom corner here. Oops. Let's do the same thing. There we go. Let's do just the corners first. So that one to this one, and then this one to here. Now we have these 4 vertices here in the middle, so if I hit F4, you can see that I have my drone vertex here. Let me go up to the cylinder, and same thing here. There we go. So now what we've done is we've successfully taken 2 elements and combined them into one single object, and then we've welded them together to make them one element. So to just test our theory here, let's go to Element, select that, and you'll see the entire thing is now selected. So now that we have that, there's one more thing that we would want to do. You'll notice here the cylinders that we created, they left these n-gons on the top. Now an n-gon is a polygon that has more than 4 sides. So what I want to do is I want to quadrify those n-gons. So to start, I'm going to select this vertex and this one. Notice that I'm continuing with this line right through it, and I'm going to use connect. That will create a segment that is between 2 vertices. Now, the connect will only work if there are no edges separating those 2 vertices. So in this case, if I select this vertex and this one, connect will not work, okay, because that edge is interrupting the line of sight between those 2 vertices. Now the tool that I can use is called the cut tool. So let's right click, let's go to cut, and then I'm going to left click on this vertex here. Notice the icon, how it's really small. That's letting me know that I am on a vertex. If I go out to the middle of the polygon, it gets bigger. That's letting me know I'm going to cut in the middle of a polygon. Normally we don't want to do that, but there are certain situations that we will, and I will show you how that does work. And then we also have this squished icon. It looks like an edge. That's letting us know that we're cutting right along an edge there. So let's go from this vertex, let's left click on it, and you'll see that it starts to preview where it's going to create the edges if I were to start cutting. In this case, what I want to do is I want to go to this vertex. Now whenever I left click on that, it will create that segment. Let's right click to end the cut process, and it also creates a vertex in the middle, so it automatically creates that for us. Let's do this on the bottom. Now I'm just going to connect this, so I'm going to left click and then cut from here to here. And then I'm going to right click to end that cut, and then we'll go from here to here. Right click to end, and there we go. We've just quadrified that n-gon into 4 quads, which is perfect. So now that I have that, let's right click to end the cut tool, and we are now ready to begin the process of creating other elements. Now I talked about using that cut tool, and there were going to be different situations. So what I want to do in the next video is show you how to use that cut tool in a little bit of a different way. So we'll get started with that next.